Mumia, it would be wonderful if you could say a few words how our country needs to rediscover what family means and also expand a bit. In the last decades, the primary responsibility for educating children has shifted from the family to the school. What is your input on that?
Well, I would say that when you look at education, generally in this country and perhaps around the world, but specifically in this country, what you'll see is from the very earliest years, when a child goes to school and comes back home, the child perceives mom and dad differently than he did before he went to school. He senses that his parents, are somehow not as smart as his teacher. And that means stupid, unintelligent, ignorant, uninformed. He gets that sense that when he needs to learn something, he goes to his teacher. He doesn't go to his mother. He doesn't go to his father, because his teacher knows his parents don't. I think that at that point, what you develop is a kind of alienization or an alienation of the child from his family unit, his fundamental family unit, mom and pop. And while educators will talk about the school experience as socialization, and this is a good thing, I think what you're really looking at is desocialization, because he is alienated and desocialized from his family unit and put into a secondary unit that he looks at as of worth, of value. And he begins to rank. Well, the teacher knows such and such and such. Well, the parents don't know. You see what I'm saying? And so that family as a unit suffers, you see. I do think that this is precisely because the social order has developed, I'm talking about the social economic order, has developed in such a way that in America and perhaps in other, industrialized societies in this world, in order for a family to make enough material resources and money to support the family, well, you have to have the father working and the mother working. You need a two-income family. We do what we're taught to do in this social order. And a lot of what we do is not necessarily good for us. It's just customary and traditional. And, we need to develop the community that can truly educate the children without alienating them from their parents, who brought them into this creation,
Now, one of my topics in the book, Leading Your Child to God, is about the movement of homeschooling, which is rapidly growing in our country.
Sure.
Now, do you see this as a positive movement or a negative or a mixture of both? What do you know about homeschooling?
Well, I've read some things about it, and my family, the MOVE organization, has been involved with it, So I look at it with both positives and some negatives. There are some people who utilize this for, frankly, very racist reasons, to try to exclude children from contact with other cultures, other people. But fundamentally, I think it is a positive thing, you see. Because for the same reasons I said about how a child tends to look at his parents or her parents after he leaves the home and enters that school situation. I think it can be positive if people look at it consciously and work towards those ends. But I think it's fundamentally positive. It can be negative, and it depends on the family and the reasons why they do that.
To me, I agree with you. But to me, the most negative thing is that a child is stopped from relating to his peers if he is schooled at home. And children need to learn to relate with other children their age?
Well, yeah, I think also that it should be noted that the Bruderhof, your family, your community, you have your own, primary schools. So because you have your own schools, you're conscious of who teaches and what is taught and how it's taught and in what spirit that happens, you see. Many people who live in the city have nothing even remotely close to that, you see. In fact, they have no idea what is being taught. They have no idea who the teacher really is. They don't know who that person is. So I think that the experience that the Bruderhof have is very different from the average person in the city or even in a rural setting where they don't know who those persons is. They don't know who that teacher is. They don't know what's being taught. They don't know the spirit. And they don't know how that person really relates to that child, you see. You hear it very often when you read the papers or you look at TV about how parents in general society are just so glad when summer is over. Because when summer is over, they can take that kid and put him back in school and their day is kind of free again. You see what I'm saying? So, in that sense, the Hofs have an advantage that a lot of people don't have.
During the past year, the Bruderhof communities have become deeply involved in your case and in the lives of the MOVE members and in the death penalty question in general. Would you have a message to relate to the brothers, sisters, and children of the Bruderhof?
First of all, of course, a heartfelt thank you to every member of the Bruderhof, from the smallest, the youngest, to the oldest, the eldest, here in America and abroad, in England and all around the world. We are very, very grateful that the Bruderhof came to our attention for existing and making just human contact